To the review of match day 12, Bundesliga 2, and match day 10, Bundesliga 1. As I prepared those slides for the German review, Rückblick, I'm using the same ones, and I hope, well, at least either you can translate, or at least you know what I'm talking about, or I explain it. So Rückblick, that's review 12th match day. We look at the results, and it's not gonna work as I'm not in the right. So here we got the results. Ergebnisse, that's results. I mean, obviously, you may remember the games yourself. You can check them here. I'm gonna explain the games in some more depth as soon as the slides are coming up. And at least I wanted to remind you of the results. As we see here, for example, every team scored a goal, one goal at least. So anyone who made this bet, I know one who bet that every week for a decent price. But I can't remember, but it's a pretty decent price. Anyway, he would have won. And you also may notice that not a single away side got a victory. It's just 4 home wins and 5 draws. Plenty of draws, no home wins. And as we went with the away sides a bit more eagerly, maybe, yeah, you could say, well, obviously market was better, because I'm claiming you ought to go with the away sides as they are to favor at the moment, which was not the case really in this case, in this instance here. Here we got the statistical kind of review of every single game. And as you see, well, we can focus on these values here because they tell us enough about the games. Because as soon as it's minus, it's the away side who are having the edge, which is, in many cases, just the edge over the expectancy. As Hanover, the new system that this is based upon here. Well, if I would introduce the old system as well, then it's getting more and more complex. But usually they are pretty close together. But the new system may persuade me to take a pick, or go with the side as soon as I notice they are playing well and maybe not getting the results. But the old system was a bit skeptical about the advantage that Hanover had anyway, because I said that they even played better so far statistically. So they just saw a very small edge. And in fact, it was Sandhausen that were the clearly better side. You can compare these two values. That's 0.6 in their favor. If you add the 0.18 that Hanover allegedly had been favorites, which was the very low assumption already by the computer, then you see it's 0.78 that Sandhausen were better than expected. Anyway, they got the draw. We won the bet. We are happy with the ongoings. That Milko Slomka had got the marching order. I don't know if this is called, if you call it like that, but he was sacked. After the game. Well, obviously the effort was not what they were hoping for, the result as well. But it may be also, as sometimes it happens, that an early goal is not really helping your purposes. There's a better word that I'm just lost. Anyway, Osnabrück in fact were better than expected. Regensburg had the lead, took the lead. They actually tried to hold on. They didn't manage, but Osnabrück was very strong in the second half, so they did deserve the 3-all. I mean, we can always look back if we don't remember. There was a 3-all in the end, and so they did. I didn't want to get all the figures into one slide, more or less, because that may get you confused as well. St. Pauli against Karlsruhe, it was a small edge to Karlsruhe, over expected, but the computer saw a pretty solid edge for 1.86, 1.41 to St. Pauli. So we had no struggle with market here in that sense, at least. only about the totals we did have. But anyway, it was a decent and fair 2-all result. In our Heidenheim, it was pretty well the way the computer expected. They expected a small edge to Heidenheim. That's what they got. They got a 1-1 draw, if you remember. So that was fine. They may have even won it in the end, but we are happy. We also had Heidenheim, but we also had the over, so we can't say we're fully happy. Here it was Fürth, that was the better side. Anyway, better than expected. We were with Darmstadt. We didn't like this. It went all, it went all wrong. 3-1 Fürth was the final result. And Bielefeld Kiel, we did take Kiel. It was, according to the computer, it was a good bet. Can be happy. They equalized by stats. So I could sign that, of course, because they looked very well. But the way Bielefeld scored the goal, you say, well, how would you stop these two strikers up there? So anyway, they didn't get the draw. That was a 2-1 win to Bielefeld. In Stuttgart, Dresden, Dresden actually were better than expected. Actually in the first half, when Stuttgart had an early lead, pretty early lead, was Dresden at least twice coming close, so that you thought, well, why wouldn't they equalize? Sorry, I'm gonna turn on the lights. Okay, so they may have gotten the equalizer, and maybe, well, you remember that Stuttgart went on to comfortable win, apparently, but it was not really the case. Wien, of course, they lost a player somewhere in the second half. So, I mean, the stats were clearly on HSV side. They looked strong. They should have won it easily. We were very lucky to get an equalizer in injury time. So that 1-1, that was really, really lucky. And but they lost a player, so we can't say a lot. I mean, these things happen. And actually in Bochum-Nürnberg, you see apparently comfortable 3-1 win, which is not quite the case, because in the second half it was already 3-0 to Bochum, who also profited from this goalkeeper making his debut, 18 years old, and he dropped a few balls. So anyway, and in the end, well, they scored 3 goals, and of course accompanied or helped by some maybe goalkeeper errors or some insecurities. Anyway, after that 3-0, Nürnberg, it took them until minute 63. They may have scored earlier, but they scored another goal that was disallowed for some obscure reason. Could have been 3-2. And in the end, it was actually Nürnberg that came a lot closer, and actually should have won a point according to the stats. We see that quite often, that one team take a comfortable lead and the stats go to the other side. So we have to be a bit careful with that evaluation, right? But still, that was, I mean, Nürnberg scored a goal. They could have pulled level. Anyway, it didn't harm us at all, as we were just on the over. And here we got the current table. I mean, you can pause the video and read it here. But we got a pretty, I mean, those 3, they really deserve it up there. Our, of course, not. Fürth do not belong there. Heidenheim maybe, Regensburg do not. But they are all so close together. Dresden in some trouble now. But actually they played a good game, so what can you say? I mean, it can even become a bit closer. And there are no decisions yet, but these 3 are maybe a bit too strong at the moment. But this may still change, of course. Not with HSV and Stuttgart, but Bielefeld also looked too strong maybe to stop them. Anyway, we got a different kind of table here that you may be used to from the old previous reviews. When I say here is the points expected, points should, and actually, well, they are actually coming pretty close to this figure here. As you remember, 2 points per game, that's very solid for the title, more or less in this lower league anyway. And you see here they both got a bit more than 2 points per game, which is solid. You couldn't expect that because that's just too close still, those sides, by efforts. But of course you can say, well, if they continue to play like that, then they, yeah, well, okay. If they are the best, why shouldn't they be top, right? but actually Stuttgart are as good or maybe even a bit better, although by results and so on, they're just 2 points behind. But you can read at least here, if you want to understand these two and pause it here maybe, then it's the goals for expected goals for should. So actually Stuttgart produced some more chances for 2 more goals, which they didn't score, and they conceded even less, and they conceded less chances but conceded some more goals. So obviously they are not really favored by luck, more or less. But if you see here a plus already, that indicates, well, if anything, you can even consider to support Stuttgart. Anyway, it's a different way of reading this table, right? But you see here Dresden are not the worst side, which are still Wien and actually Darmstadt not much better, and also Aue actually not really better, and also Regensburg, for example, are not much better. Anyway, now we come to this kind of ranking that I set up anew for you. And what we see here is who should have been best, who had the best efforts and down to the worst, right? So and if you compare this, then you see the place difference. That means they are -2 means they are a bit unlucky because they played better than the current results. HSV, of course, these are going one place down, so they are a bit favored by luck, more or less. Kiel are -8, which means they played well, didn't get the results, but recently you could see that, and actually they are in 12th place now and moving up the table, and as you notice here, with one win, they can easily, well, depending on other results, but it's close anyway, and so make it 2 wins, then see what happens. But anyway, they played this, and Sandhausen with a very good effort. Nürnberg still okay. I mean, I'm saying 17.16. That's okay, maybe slightly better than average, but no more. But coach under a lot of pressure. We may news today. I don't know, or did we already? No, we didn't. And Heidenheim also playing okay. Hannover not as good as they may have wished to be, but somewhere here in 8th place. You see here -5 means they are a lot lower in table, which can stay change within one. Anyway, it's sorted like that, and you find some of these with +12 and +8. They are way too well placed in the table, so maybe that helps you a bit too. If we look at here, we got a different sorting order, and it means how much did they play better than I expected. And Kiel are the only side, and I was saying that from the start, that I had been struggling with Kiel, and okay, they played better, they always looked better, they sacked the coach, which was silly, and still managed to perform this much better. So, well, what can I say? I mean, they are doing fine, and they are the one side that it's an error by myself, you could say. Why did I rate them so lowly? Well, why market didn't, but okay, it can happen. I mean, and the others, you see, they are close together. Osnabrück, actually, I rated them pretty well as after winning promotion, and usually they get a boost. I mean, they still are fine in table. They are also -1.67. It's not massive. But you see here, Heidenheim was rating pretty well. They actually fulfilled that more or less, if you want to check that back here, or even one table back, but I'm not going to bother right now. Anyway, Wien, I was also, after promotion, I was rating them pretty well. They didn't quite fulfill it, but it's not awful. Anyway, Darmstadt are a bit worse. And so you see here, more or less, they all play on their level. It's no side that far away, except Kiel, maybe you could say, but 3.33 points still is not this much. Now we look at the single games and our bets. And we click quickly. I'm gonna go through because we talked about this already. It's just including the bets here, and maybe the goal here we saw that already, but I'm taking it in here. The quality was good because obviously Sandhausen were the better side. Here we had the 3-all. We were an under, nothing on the sides. We lost the under. Actually, it was by stats it was pretty okay because 2.67 goals. You see here it's even below this value. I'm still counting it not as a good one, but as a neutral one. Of course, that sounds a bit silly if you see so many goals, 3-3, but okay, I dared to do that. In St. Pauli against Karlsruhe, actually we had the over, sides nothing, the over was fine, 2-2, and as we check here, it's plenty of chances, 3.12, we had over 2.75, no doubt it was a good bet, so it was fine. We had over and Heidenheim. Heidenheim was I changed the format here, sorry for that, but you can still read that here. We won half the bet on Heidenheim, we lost the over, so we are minus 0.605, and so not a good game, good and bad. The side was fine, as I explained before, or you can check here by checking those values they played really in the game. That was close to the new system that expected, but the over was of course a bad one. In Fürth against Darmstadt, we were fully wrong. We were on Darmstadt, we were on under. Terrible, both sides were lost, both were bad. I'm not going to argue this may be close enough to consider it neutral, I don't know, but I'm not going to do that. It was just bad. Also for the many goals, and somehow it felt wrong. Here we were on the right side with Kiel and on the other under, so both are fine. As the line was pretty high with 3.25, we still collected half the bet here on the under, sorry for that. 0.4, half of that, what's over 1.0, and we lost the other, minus 0.6, of course no good, but the bets had been fine. We checked that one, nothing, we hadn't, we didn't get involved, let's put it like that, and so nothing happened. We had a 3-1 win, which I explained already. In Wien we had the side Wien, and we won the side, which was very lucky, but of course the 1-0, okay, we would have lost only half, but it was a bad bet by the sending off, but I'm not going to reconsider, because I say, well, it doesn't happen every day that you get a red card. It did happen, it was bad. After that, statistically, I'm always going to evaluate like that. Now, I'm going to pause here. We had a good bet on the over that was massive, really, 3.92 goals. So the over was fine in any respect, and we're happy with that. And we won it as well. I'm gonna go to the... that's what I wanted to do, actually. Okay. Let me check here. Okay, so now this is the review of Bundesliga 1, matchday 10. And same thing happening here, and maybe it may not be all the same slides, but I hope I'm going to get through a bit quicker here. Remember that many goals, home sides also winning, but we had some away wins with Gladbach, very lucky. Also Schalke in some sense, but otherwise it was the home sides that prevailed, actually with 6 wins, 1 draw, and 2 losses only. So it was it's time for the home sides, but as I'm observing that all over Europe, it's actually, well, it just happened this time here, and in other leagues it went the other way around. So you can't really come to some deeper conclusions. It's the home advantage is lowered a bit. Now we are approaching a level where it is regular again, let's say, or it is, well, I'm those values expected and that came true are on the same level right now. I checked that. I can't give you every single table, or maybe I can from time to time, but not in every single video. You see here that Paderborn actually were better than expected. It was actually 1.6, 1.1, and 1.95, 1.23 expected. So actually it was a good under and a good side. I'm not sure if I counted like that, because it was very early. It was 3-0. From then on, maybe was petering out a bit. But I think that Paderborn, at any point, if they score a goal, hope will be back. I mean, we didn't really want it to happen because we were on the under. And of course, winning that when you're 3 goals down after 28 minutes is very lucky. But of course, you do not know in advance that it's going to be 3-0 after these few minutes. In Werder Freiburg, we were going with... I can't do that. Actually, I know I can do something here and show something. But Freiburg were better than expected. We were with Werder. The 2-2 very late equalizer by Freiburg. You can only say it was they deserved it. So very, very fine. It can't be good bet we had on Werder, but we had the over as well. We can check that later. Leverkusen Gladbach, it was actually Leverkusen so much the better side, and they lost 1-2 if you remember this. And they were 1 goal better than expected and 1.53 goals better than Gladbach in this game just by pure stats. So they should have at least have equalized. We also won the under very luckily because it was some goals pretty early on in the first half. So we can't complain here. In Dortmund, Wolfsburg, I mean, second half, it really, Dortmund started going after they scored the first goal. But before that, it was actually Wolfsburg doing a very good job. And it didn't feel like this much of superiority. But maybe, well, with including the second half after the goal, maybe. But before that, it felt pretty even. So anyway, it still says here that Wolfsburg were better than expected, but I was talking about this game and explaining that the computer has some difficulties in evaluating Dortmund properly, which I'm quite happy about. I have some contradictions here or there between my own old and new system, because then it just means you are not sure. So what's wrong with not being so sure? And who would be sure, right? Would you go with Dortmund now, or would you go against them? Who knows? Now they won 3-0. Okay. They're gonna play tonight. I think Champions League. I gotta check the pairings first of all. But I'm not betting the Champions League anyway. So I'm gonna watch it, but I'm not gonna bet it. Frankfurt was much better side. Early sending off. You can consider pretty unlucky also for Bayern for the counter attack and so on. Everything went wrong, and then instead of the sending off, they may even have chosen the penalty, playing 11 with a goal down, or 10-11 not being a goal down, maybe worse with a 10-11, right? And 0-0 scoreline. Anyway, Frankfurt made perfect use of that 5-1 win, of course, real sensational win, but caused by Bayern being a player down, but it cost Kovac the drop too, so that's silly a bit. In Mainz, Leipzig Mainz, if you see these stats, you may laugh about it and say, well, who's making those stats? But you can say as well that Leipzig scored a goal with virtually every chance, which is true. But you can say as well that the chances were a lot bigger than they usually would be. So this count is just wrong, or multiplication, because I would consider a chance like any other chance, more or less, which is not the case, because Mainz started to defend physically. If you stop to defend at this level, but it makes perfect sense, because why should they collect some more cards or so when they are going to lose the game anyway? But if you start to defend, if you stop to defend physically, which means, well, just tackle badly, or in all senses, then you just can collect all those goals, and that's what happened. And of course, this is a bad calculation. Because the chances were a lot bigger, but I'm not going to change the algorithm for that. I mean, we got a 8-0 very rarely ever. In Union, Hertha, we had actually pretty, well, Union were the better side and better than expected, which is fine. First half, second half was even, and then it was this late penalty that Union converted 88th minute, so, and slightly controversial maybe. Okay, anyway, in Düsseldorf Köln, although we won it here and it's minus 0.25, it means still pretty even. Düsseldorf had the lead, still Köln could have equalized, they should have. It was an even game, but of course you can win it with those stats as well, no problem. And it's close enough to what markets thought or says, and we had the goal on our side. I'm going to count that neutral, I think. In Augsburg-Schalke, Schalke turned the game around, but it was actually Augsburg the better side, which was also the impression while watching it, because it just looked good, but they still were not the better side. They produced their fair amount, but they kept out Schalke a lot better, but still were slightly behind, although being better than expected. Okay, anyway, we got this table here now, you may all know, but it looks nice, check it out. Of course, we got still a very close situation here, and with anyone down to ninth place, actually good to say, well, we fight for Europe at least. It's 2 points to the second place, or also the title, because Gladbach are not the side that are gonna win every other game from now on. And even Leverkusen with 15 points now are some kind of challengers up here. So it's an interesting table and a very tight and close table. That's what we wish to see. Although they would argue the league is not so good anymore, which is silly stuff. That if all the teams are good, then why shouldn't it be a close table? Anyway, here we have Paderborn being slightly behind, but minus 11 goal. Oh, that's a mistake here. No idea where it comes from, but you're gonna find it again here. So they are all wrong. I think that, yeah, they are just strong. All the goal differences, those are fine, I think. Anyway, sorry for that. It happens. I'm doing a lot of copying stuff. Although those should be tables that are taken straight from Excel, but I didn't manage to get that job done. Anyway, I think the table is what is here? Do we have that better here? Minus 14? Yeah, that's the proper values, right? These are the proper values. And anyway, the table again, but here you see how many points they should have had. And in Gladbach's case, actually, they didn't play so well. Actually, they even played worse than expected and so on. So they wouldn't belong anywhere up here, which we see in a different table, right? Check out the points they should have had. It gets a bit confusing because you get the goals expected, goals for should. You see here they are down a bit as well. Also on the ones conceded, they should have conceded some more. Also in Leverkusen, of course, but that's just one example. Dortmund didn't quite play their level also in the ones they should have conceded. So I expected them to be a lot better, and they are way behind. Also for Bayern, that holds true. And a couple of things, we got the goal average here. You see real 3.19, expected 3.23. So I was pretty optimistic, or that's recent values. Expected, is it from now on, or is it until now? 250 and 200, no, sorry, that's the point. Here you see that goes for, yeah, it expected a bit more even, yeah, which is funny. I mean, the ones should, here you see the ones expected, 290.58. Here's the ones should, 285.85, and here are the ones that had been scored. So they are all close together, as you see here. But I expected even a bit more. Maybe that's because it was a bit higher and then went down a bit, but I'm not sure. I mean, anyway, I'm close enough, so no worries. And okay, so this table is a bit more detailed, but not to get you confused too much. Here you see the pure table, although the goal differences are wrong. Anyway, now we see here still the sorting order as I showed in the Bundesliga 2. It doesn't look as nicely here, but I'm gonna change that next week. Anyway, you see Bayern played the best. Leverkusen actually should be second. Leipzig in third. Only Dortmund in fourth. Frankfurt playing very well, not quite challenging them, but actually coming pretty close. Then there is a gap to Schalke. Düsseldorf is a big surprise to anyone. You wouldn't trust me, but I do trust myself. So if you follow more. Anyway, Wolfsburg, Köln, Gladbach, you see that Köln is still ahead of Gladbach, so Gladbach are just a mediocre side, and many more things like that. Hoffenheim actually winning game after game and not really being strong, and Augsburg actually with quite some margin behind the others, but who else would you take? I mean, they would talk about Union or Paderborn, of course, who are bottom, but I would say, well, Paderborn again and again. And also in Hoffenheim, actually, they didn't play badly. I mean, they need to score a goal here or there. They won't do that. But of course, well, in Augsburg, usually the stats are no good, although they looked quite okay against Schalke once again. So, well, it sounds a bit funny, but I'm trusting those values. And if you look back game by game, then you would notice as well. And maybe I'm going to do that too at some point. Here we see that same table that I showed there, and as you see here, Bayern, the side that failed by most from all sides, their expectancies, they sacked their coach, and Frankfurt actually were responsible for that in some sense by beating them 5-1. But as you may have noticed, they played well before that. They were top in this table already before that match day. And you can check out, Leverkusen actually played well. Fortuna Düsseldorf really always getting good stats. Also Köln, actually not bad. Union, it's just compared to expectancy, not to, not comparing with the average or something like that. It's just comparing them with what I expected. Leipzig, for example. But you see, Dortmund and Bayern, they are the worst, which everyone would agree on. Of course, they wouldn't agree, no one would agree on Gladbach being worse than expected. But that's what the stats tell me. And I'm going to follow that. Now we see the game by game, as we've done in Bundesliga 2. The under we won, we lost the side, so it's minus 0.05. That's perfect. I mean, I counted them both as good ones, which is maybe not quite fair, but I'm going to do it like that this time, and I'm not worried too much. I'm not cheating here, and also the values confirm that easily. I mean, it's way too good what they did here. Dortmund won 3-0, of course, by far too good, but we were talking about that. As the old system was pretty far away from that too, they even beat that, right? Or did they? By 1.12, and here it was 1.05, so they even beat the old system. So by their stats, so I was quite okay to have those two different values because it was here in the middle. So neither fulfilling those high expectancies nor dropping down to those low expectancies. Anyway, Frankfurt won 5-1. We had Frankfurt +1. It was a good bet, no doubt. We won 1.099 units. It was, of course, perfect by the stats here they played at. In Freiburg, Werder, we had Werder was bad, I think, yeah, and this over was good, so no doubt about that. So we still have a little plus because both prices were above 2.0, so still some slight winning. Here we didn't have anything. 8-0 doesn't match with these values here, but it was just every chance a goal. But they've done it in style, everything fine. Here we saw a wrong result, fully wrong result, because they were 1.53 goals better. We did have the under, we won half of it. We shouldn't have maybe, but and it was bad for the many chances that Leverkusen created. Here we had the over. I'm saying that again and again, and I'm unable to beat those derby lines, whatever happens, and sometimes outsider, sometimes over, sometimes under. It doesn't work out. I'm struggling with it. That's what I'm trying to say. And when you say that, then you tend to exaggerate a bit. Okay, anyway. Düsseldorf, we had a perfect result, perfect game, more or less. And I'm going to consider the side neutral, as this is close to, 2.042, you can't really complain here. And they had the result on their side, so I dare to count it neutral. If you want to, you could also say it's a bad one, but I wouldn't consider it fair. It was just okay what they did. Augsburg-Schalke, I said that already. It was not quite the fair result. Augsburg would have deserved better. Still, the slightly better side were Schalke, so maybe, well, they still deserve it somehow. No, both results would have been fine. Here I got just the stats for Bundesliga 1, which looks pretty nice. But as I'm gonna have a different slide here now in the Bundesliga 2, I'm gonna show this one first. The count here: good, bad, neutral, good, bad. You see that? But I think I do have a better slide here. Do I? Okay, I have to. Oh, I'm afraid. I have to skip through. I thought I could pause it and then go through. I may have found a different way, but sorry for that. No, we are here. And those are the stats for that weekend. Or they comprise a bit more than that, but it doesn't look so clear. Maybe I'm trying to explain, but you remember we got quite a few bets here, which sounds a bit silly why I'm attacking the market on every other game. But if you see the quality, which is in this column. I think that should be up here. Where's the headline or the header? I don't know. I can't find it now. But my we got enough good ones, a couple of bad ones. When you can't, I didn't count them out. Sorry, should have done that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 2, 4, 6, 7, 11, 7, 2 neutral ones. It's still a fine, and the total, that's all that is displayed here. That's plus 2.08 in units, minus 1, minus 1. I stick to proposing every bet with a single unit just to keep things simple. And you see here, and yeah, well, there's matches well with the values I have been showing in the other slides. So it's plus 2.08, of course we can't complain. Here we got the total, that's the current value, that's 21.9 units. That's from all the, I entered all the games right now. Yesterday I've done all this work to get this into such kind of sheet, but I won't display them all here. But if you check back the last videos, then you may find we were somewhere here. Although I had 2 prices, I checked all the prices while doing that, and so I had 4 times I had the wrong price. So it was a slight, just slightly the wrong price here. So there's a slight mismatch to what we did have last week, and 19.81. It should have been, because the first one is lost, so before that it was 19.81. But you may have had 20.457, something like that. Before that, but I corrected it downwards because it was the right value. And now we are on 21.9, which is a different, that's 18 or 19.81, should have been up here, plus 2.08, that makes 21.9. Because here is the minus 1 of this bet is already in that. I may find a better way to do it week by week. But I think you can, well, if you pause it here, you can check the single bets. I may get some colors in, I'm not sure. But here, that's all the only thing, other thing. But I'm not quite sure which way, well, this counting is a bit difficult. But at least I can say, well, we needed these many hits, more or less, on good bets or winning bets. At least to be even, to deserve to be even. That's just the one way of calculating it, by adding up all the probabilities, which are the reciprocals of those prices we are getting. And here I added up the ones we had been winning, whereby we won quite some bets half, and others we won, we drew. So of course drawing a bet is different to losing it. So this should be a bit different here, those values. I have to check that. But anyway, we are still above this value, so we well deserve to beat the market, because that's good enough, right? If you are better than that. Sorry, yeah, okay. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching for today, and I'm gonna be back with a new video on preview on Thursday or Friday, I guess. Thanks a lot for watching.